Hi there, and welcome to Connor's Music webisode 6. And today we are talking about rests. So what is a rest, you might ask? Well, a rest is a marking that's written into the music, into the sheet music, to tell you to take a pause, to take a moment, to leave a little space. It's really important to be able to leave pauses or dramatic moments in your music. Okay, that might have been a few too many dramatic moments, but the idea is that leaving space for around your notes helps to create what we call phrasing in music. Basically, that you can hear where a sentence of music might start or finish, just the same way as if we're speaking. Dramatic pause at the end of a sentence, or maybe create a little anticipation of what I'm going to say next. So those are all good examples of phrasing using space in what we do in our everyday language. So we want to use those same tools for when we're playing music. So rest is really helpful. It's also really good to be comfy and cozy. Rest is helpful. So there are lots of different types of note values to talk about rest. There are whole rests, half rests, quarter rests, eighth rests, and 16th rests that all tell you to hold for a certain portion of music. So the equivalent of those note values that we've talked about in past weeks, that a note is supposed to be held for that length of time, well, when you see it written as a rest, the rest is telling you to hold that pause for that same length of time, but to leave it open, leave it with nothing. Do not play anything. I had a teacher in school that told me that silence is golden, noise is nasty. But I think that really plays a point when you're talking about rests. It's important to leave that space and make sure that you don't play a note too early or let a note hang into a rest. You really got to respect the rest. Respect the silence. Shh. It's kind of like a library. The other part too with it, I've heard the expression, I really like this one, that music is painting on a canvas of silence. So it's really important that we leave space for notes. That way you can create emphasis. So that gets a little bit more when you're thinking about it as a songwriter. All right, so one of the nice things is that over the past few weeks, just got to get comfy. We've had a few activities that we've been doing at home that have been really loud, really raucous. Lots of making noise. This activity is the exact opposite of making noise. It's a very quiet and calm, cool activity because we're going to specialize in rest. So here's what we're going to do. For everybody at home who's watching today's webisode, what we'd like you to do, I'm going to say a rest value, and in your head, not even out loud, you're going to count those numbers in your head to maintain that level of space with perfect silence. So, a whole rest has 4 beats of silence. So I'm going to count what that is, and then I'm going to leave that space for you to say, shh, nothing, but think it in your head. So a whole rest is worth 1, 2, 3, 4. So now for silence, get ready. I'm going to say whole rest and count it out, right? Whole rest. Nice. Now, a half rest. So only worth 2 beats, so you don't get nearly as much rest. That's important. So with a half rest, it's worth 2 beats. It's worth 1, 2 beats. So if I say half rest, I'm going to then have you in your head count to 2. So I'm going to say half rest. Nice. Quarter rest. It's only worth 1 beat. So if I say quarter rest, done. Okay, so think just one number. Quarter rest. Now, fancy schmancy. There's an 8th note rest and a 16th note rest. They're used less for leaving nice spaces and pauses. They're a little more helpful when we do things that are what are called syncopated. So for notes that are off of the main beats that you'd want to clap. So this gets you a little bit more thinking, because those 8th note and 16th note rests really helpful. So an example is if I say 1 in your head, you would, when we say 1, we would put a rest on 1, and then we would clap or say something on the and. Now, this is supposed to be a quiet, sleepy time exercise, nice and chill, getting lots of rest. So when I say 1, I'm going to say rest on the 1, you're going to say and. So I'm going to say rest and, rest and, rest and, rest and. We just did a series of 8th notes with 8th rests. So I say rest, you say and. Rest, 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 rest. Wonderful. Now 16th notes get even trickier. So we'll leave it at the 8th notes for now. And those 16th notes, when you're feeling really brave, we'll cover those another day. In the meantime, time for more rest. My favorite. Stop. You're under arrest. Wah, wah. Alright, considering that today's theme is all about rests, I thought I'd play a song dedicated to good resting. Today we're discussing the lovely world of rests. Rests are those gentle little pauses in the music that help leave space so that way the music can be phrased and completed to its fullest intent. Now, that's a fancy way of saying that there's a lot of value, there's a lot of magic in space. So first we're going to demonstrate that. I've got a fun little way to demonstrate that. I grabbed now I'm going to be trying to do some artwork. The only colors I have are blue, red, and black in dry erase. So that does pose a bit of a challenge. I'm going to ask for everybody at home to have a little grace with me, because we're going to do the best we can with being an artiste with 3 colors. But you know what? I'm up for the challenge. What I did learn, don't use Sharpie on the dry erase board. That would be bad. Bad idea. So, dry erase markers. So, to demonstrate the idea of the value of space, I've often said this to my students. Imagine that there is a lovely ocean. There's waves, gentle waves. There's waves on the ocean. Just like so. And maybe some extra little ripples, because we want to demonstrate that this is a calm but active ocean sea scene. So, what often happens with an artist, and the expression I've used is putting down the brush, is that you start by saying, I want to draw a sailboat. And they put a nice big sailboat, big sails, kind of like the Blue Nose, out on the open seas. And it's doing its thing, fighting the raging waves and the hurling winds. So that's our sailboat in the middle of this ocean, and it's doing what sailboats do best, which is fighting those waves. And then the artist says to themselves, oh, well, I don't want to just have a boat. I think that we need to have something for the boat to watch. So the boat should have a whale splashing away. I'm going to say that that's the tail of a humpback whale. And then, well, wouldn't it be nice if overhead there was a couple of birds, a few birds, a flock of birds, and then suddenly, well, maybe we should have a few more birds. And then what would happen if we need a sun in the sky, that's important. So let's get a sun up here. And lots of gentle rays coming down, making for a sunshiny day. But what about, well, a little bit of clouds? That would be realistic, wouldn't it? And a few more clouds. Maybe another cloud over here, just drifting lazily by. And this is where we get into trouble. We start to add too much. What if there was a whale splashing? We'll give it a happy little whale smile. And it's splashing as it careens and jumps out of the water. And maybe a pod of whales. Maybe there's more tails. Whale tails and jumping whales. And what if it's spouting water and then whoosh, sideways? I've never seen that, but doesn't mean it couldn't happen, I suppose. And that boat's lonely. Maybe we need more boats. Maybe we need a motorboat. And it's going by. And splashing away. And the moral of the story is, suddenly, this doesn't look realistic at all. This isn't what we'd expect an ocean scene to be whatsoever. Because we filled it up. We didn't leave any space. We put way too many birds and clouds and whales, and that's not good. So moral of the story is, even when you're doing art or you're doing music, remember the value of leaving space. It's important to leave space, to let the things that you're drawing or the music that you're playing, to let it breathe, to let it have its moment. Because realistically, an entire flock of seagulls on top of a whole pod of whales and beside a whole fleet of boats and a stormy but sunny but smiley day and waves crashing and not, that's just too much. This ocean scene isn't realistic at all. And it's too busy. It's too busy on the eye. So the same thing goes for music. I'm going to erase this all now, because let's get to business, which is how to draw whole, half, and quarter, and eighth, and 16th rests. So one little trick I like to remind people of, because it's hard sometimes to see the difference between a whole rest and a half rest. So a whole rest looks like a little bowl underneath of whatever line it's attached to. So, and a half rest looks like a little hat. So the way to remember that, a whole is a bowl and a half is a hat. Whole, bowl, half, hat. And still to this day, sometimes I just catch myself saying that little rhyme to help me find my way. Whole bowl, half hat. So that's your whole rest and your half rest. Your whole rest is worth 4. I'll make that great big number 4 so that people at home can see it. And your half rest, it's worth 2. You get sound effects as a bonus. So whole and half, whole bowl, half hat. Whole is for 4, half is for 2. The same way we would count it in beats, we count it in rests. All right, I'm going to erase that. Very good. And next we're going to do quarter, eighth, and 16th. So I find drawing a quarter rest is kind of like, for those who like Harry Potter, it's almost like a little lightning bolt. You would put on the forehead of Harry Potter, is kind of what a quarter rest is going to look like. It's kind of a little ziggity line. It's thick at the top, gets to small, and has a little hook at the bottom. So think kind of like a Harry Potter lightning bolt. Next, I would say the eighth note rest. You're going to make a little dot, you're going to make a little swoop from that dot, and then you're going to bring it down. Kind of like a fancy number 7 or a squat letter Y if you were doing that in like a funny printing. And then for a 16th rest, we do that little tail, and then we do it again. And then we bring it down. So quarter, 8th, and 16th. A quarter rest is worth 1 beat. An 8th rest is worth a half a beat. And a 16th note rest is worth a quarter of a beat. So that would be the equivalent of, this would be 1 or the and this would be worth 1 E and one of those parts, not anything more. So there's how to draw and how to count all those different rests. Rests are definitely tricky, but they're very important. Remember, there's value in leaving space. What is Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. Banana. Wah, wah. So there you have it, everybody. Rests. They're really important, not just for music, but for real life. If you want to learn more about rests, well, step 1, just take one. Start off with a little nap, then maybe get a really good night's sleep. But more importantly, when it comes to music, always remember, leave a little space and make sure that all the rests get their full value. That way your music stays in time and is played as it should be. If you have any other questions, you can feel free to contact us at Connor's Music. We can always hook you up with more great information for playing great music. On that note, everybody,